Hey guys, welcome to my studio, Mellow Rebel. This is where I record all of my songs, and I'm really excited to show you guys around. Let's start with some of my guitars. So I have most of them here, but there's a few that I'd like to point out. This Yamaha was a custom mod that they built for me. It actually has 2 kill switches and my favorite set of Seymour Duncan pickups. They are just the absolute best. And this, I think, has been on every song I've recorded thus far. It just sounds so freaking great. Also, I have one of my favorites is this Manson that they built for me. This thing is just tricked out to all beliefs. So you have, again, 2 kill switches. You have the toggle and the button. You have a Sustainiac pickup. So basically, you know, you could flip some switches and it'll hold a note forever. You obviously have the Floyd Rose, but then you have this fuzz pedal built into the guitar. So this activates the fuzz pedal, and then you have these knobs to control the parameters. And it's just such a fun instrument, and it sounds massive. So I was really stoked when Manson sent me this. I also have this cool guitar that Ernie Ball built me, and from my understanding, there's only one Mariposa guitar with the white sparkle finish in the world. But this thing rips. It isn't a short scale, but it's kind of a tiny guitar. So easy to get around in, just super fun to play, and yeah, sounds amazing. This is a Framus that they gave me, and I actually got to play this on stage with members of Bruce Springsteen's band, Max Weinberg and Gary W. Talent. I was singing Bruce Springsteen songs. They were backing me. One of the most special moments of my entire career. So I cherish this guitar, and it also is just a monster. I also have built a couple guitars. One I built when I was like 18 or so, and I didn't really build it. This was a kit guitar, so I kind of just assembled it. But it was exactly what I wanted at that moment in my life, and I really still love this guitar so much. But a guitar that I did pretty much actually build is this like Fender Tele. I actually bought a giant blank of wood. I glued it up. I surfaced it. I carved out the Tele shape. The only thing I didn't do was the neck, because I did not want to get into carving a neck. That seemed miserable. But I got to build this with one of my best friends. It was a special memory, and I love having it in my studio. So I'm a type of person who really believes in having all of the tools that you need to create. And I feel like you never know what tools you need because you never know what song you're going to create. And so I just buy things and wait to use them at some point. This is a baritone guitar that I have found myself using a lot to thicken up choruses or just kind of make a song a little bit meatier. And basically what I do is I'll just play the chord progression, but I'll just kind of underlay it, and it gives you that like deeper tone and just kind of fattens things up a little bit, which is super useful when you're trying to really push a chorus home. I also have this 12-string Gretsch electric guitar, which I don't know when I'm going to use this. I just bought this. I got this like 2 days ago, and I'm really excited for it to make its way on my music. I've always wanted a 12-string electric. This thing is a beaut. So while we're talking about guitars, let's talk about amps. This is most of my amp collection. I bought this Mesa Dual Rec when I graduated high school. It was kind of like a gift to myself, and it is my favorite amp of all time. It is my #1 go-to. It is on every song, at least the rock stuff that I've recorded thus far, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. This thing is my favorite. I love Mesa. I love this Dual Rec. I honestly want to get a couple more of them because that's how much I love this amp. I also recently got this Tone Master, which is a Fender amp, and I really love this because it reminds me sonically a lot of the Dual Rec, but it's not as tight as the Dual Rec, so it just kind of gives you like a little bit more of a grungy attitude, which is a lot of fun and kind of loosens up the sound a little bit in the perfect way. I also got this, which is really special to me. This is the Lemmy Kilmister signature head from Marshall. I'm pretty sure only 800 of these were ever made. I even got this super cool letter of authenticity that Lemmy and Jim Marshall both hand signed while they were alive. I use this quite often on guitar. I honestly use this more often on guitar than I do bass, but it does make appearances on my bass tones as well. Then I got some boutique amps as well. And now my outboard gear. A lot of really cool stuff. So everything goes into the patch bay. But it's pretty much all Neve. I have these 24 channels of Neve here. I have 4 more Neves here, and then I got 4 APIs. This all routes to my drum room, which I will show you later. But, you know, I thought about going 100% Neve. And, you know, it basically is 100% Neve, but I do really like the coloring of API for my vocals, and so I kept those, and they're great. You know, API stuff is amazing. I have a Kemper with my little Rasta bush. This is a great tool. I pretty much always run this with my real amps, so when I am recording stuff, I will record both my Kemper and an amp at the same time and kind of feather in here or there, or, you know, just use whatever. I also have my Tech 21 stuff. I love Tech 21. They are absolutely the base of my bass tone. Without this, I really don't know what my bass would sound like, and so I love this, and all goes through a Fatboy DI, and then I have a few distressors as well. And now this all routes in to my Apollo X16s, which are in the desk, which is great. And yeah, you know, I run Pro Tools, but it all goes through the 2 Apollo X16s. I also have a little Apollo Twin up here. I got my Mellotron on the desk for just when I'm feeling weird and want bells or strings or anything really. This is you know, unlimited sounds here. We also got some basses. You know, I love this Yamaha. I have 3 of these, but, you know, these knobs, this was a custom mod from Yamaha, but these knobs aren't hooked up to anything. They do not work. They are there completely cosmetically. It is on or off. That is it, which is awesome playing live. You don't have to worry about hitting any knobs, and it's just like, you know, balls to the wall or no sound at all. On the acoustic stuff, though, I often try to go for a little bit of a different sound, and so I kind of have really 2 options that I go with on that. Is I have this Jack Cassidy signature bass, which is really awesome and just sounds great, with flats on it, of course. And I have the Hofner, the quintessential Hofner violin bass. I am a giant Beatles fan. Paul McCartney is the man. They all are great, but Paul McCartney is my favorite. So I have this. This makes it on a lot of the acoustic stuff. This is kind of like what I grab when I am doing the acoustic songs for my music. And yeah, I can imagine not having this. I also just got this Squier 6. That is something the Beatles used to use as well. I haven't recorded with it yet. I just got it the other day, and it's a, you know, a 6-string bass, but it it's a guitar at the same time. So I kind of see this going into my workflow similar to how I use my baritone, which is just to thicken stuff up and give you that little extra grunge when you need that. And speaking of grunge, the last bass I'm going to show you is the signature Chris Novoselic bass that I have. I think only 1,000 of these were ever made, and it's an RD. It's a long scale, so it is a giant bass and gives you that giant, massive sound. So this is a really cool bass that I have. I love this thing. Yeah, that's pretty much the control room. Now let's go to the amp room. And here I record vocals, acoustic guitar, but it is where all of my cabinets are for my amps. This is where I keep everything mic'd up for my amps. I have a Vox AC15, a Marshall 412, a Classic 30, and a Roland Jazz Chorus, which, if you know anything about the Jazz Chorus, gives you the best clean guitar sound that you can possibly imagine. On pretty much all the cabinets, I just have a SM57 and an SM57 Beta from Shure. And I kind of just want to point out to you guys that you might think you need all these expensive mics, and sometimes those are awesome to have and great tools. But also a lot of times, you know, that 57 sound, there's a reason why everyone uses it on guitar amps. And so, yeah, I'm really happy with how this is. I keep them mic'd up all the time. So if I ever have an idea or I ever want to record, I basically just flip a switch and I know that my guitar tones are what they need to be. So this is the live room. This is where I record drums, acoustic guitar, piano. I've put cello in here. I've even done vocals in here. Obviously right now I kind of have it set up as a rehearsal space, and if you watch my social media content, a lot of the skits that I do, I have the room configured this way, but usually the room looks like this. This is how I like to have the kit set up when I'm tracking. It allows me to throw mics behind you guys and kind of have more space to get a wider sound. And I really love this drum set. It is fairly new in my life. It is a Grand Star Tama from the 90s. And I have the Taylor Hawkins signature snare, RIP. And I love it. It's a 24-inch kick, 18-inch floor tom is the largest size. So you got 13, 16, and 18. And all Zildjian cymbals. I have tons of Zildjian cymbals that when I'm tracking, I'll go through different variants, different sizes, different collections, all that stuff. I also have a Maple Mapex kit that I'll use sometimes. It sounds awesome mic'd up in the studio, and really love this drum space for me.